My name is Olivia Shorter, and I am the social media coordinator for Converse College's ALD. This is Delaney Coldren in the box next to mine, and she is the president of Converse's Alpha Lambda Delta. Today, we're presenting ALD Inside Out, a guide to independent volunteering.
Before we start, I'll give you a quick introduction to our chapter at Converse College. We have about 220 members, which is roughly a fourth of our undergraduate population, so we're very proud of that. At Converse, roughly a third of our students are student athletes, and about 40% or so are commuters. Many of our students are involved in dozens of student organizations as well, meaning that time conflicts are bound to occur for any event that we plan. However, we came up with a solution to support our members that may struggle to attend every single ALD event.
Independent volunteering. So what does independent volunteering include? Independent volunteering includes volunteering with events on campus and in the community, in addition to Alpha Lambda Delta's volunteer projects. These projects can be an area of passion for the student, whether it be sports, education, or something entirely unique. We can help the students by interacting with local organizations to find opportunities for students, which will make the independent volunteering process less intimidating for members. This creates a lifelong love for volunteering by helping students find organizations that they love.
Why encourage independent volunteering? There are tons of volunteer organizations on and off campus, no matter where you are. From public gardens to food shelters, there are so many opportunities for students to go out and help their community. On campus, there are several organizations that host volunteer events. As anyone who has ever hosted an event knows, there is never too much involvement. Therefore, it's important for us to encourage ALD members to volunteer for campus events, even if it's not necessarily related to ALD, because this enacts ALD values. We, as an organization, want to help everyone. Who knows? You might even get some help from other campus organizations for your next ALD events. Additionally, as Olivia pointed out, this creates lifelong volunteers. If someone finds their passion in the community, they'll continue with it, even after they move on to the next chapter of their lives.
So here are some photos of service projects, both independent and ALD related, that Converse students participated in the last year. For example, in the top center section, students painted Converse's Student Center on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
How to encourage independent volunteering. As leadership, we have the incredible power to encourage independent volunteering and to spread the word of volunteer opportunities. Reach out to local organizations to see if there are any opportunities for your students. Though they may not need the entire chapter to help, they may need a few people for a specific project. And by understanding and knowing these opportunities exist, you can encourage students to get out there in the community. And if students do volunteer, reward them. We use points tracked in a Google form to keep track of volunteer hours. Alongside this, social media is a great tool. Student shoutouts are great motivation, and it also helps put the word of ALD out there. Additionally, make it easy for students to volunteer. Collecting links to registration forms and other material helps immensely when it comes to getting ready to volunteer. Making volunteer guides are one way to organize this information. So this is a little outline of a volunteer guide. It can be adjusted based upon a chapter's needs, but here's what we came up with for our needs. For the Carolina Miracle League, a popular organization among our members, we made a short guide that includes important information to help students volunteer. A brief description of the organization and what volunteering includes, contact information, and important links are some of the most crucial things to add, but again, it can be adjusted based upon what your chapter needs. So again, make sure to, I apologize. You can do this, you can adjust it based upon however you need. Thanks.
So, rewarding independent volunteering. Rewarding volunteering, either with ALD or independently, can increase the likelihood that someone will keep volunteering. This is an example of positive reinforcement, which increases a behavior by the addition of pleasant things. Some examples of positive reinforcement from ALD are the point system, as Delaney mentioned earlier. The more hours you volunteer, the more points you get. These points can be cashed in to receive prizes like an ALD graduation cord. Scholarships are another example. Study abroad scholarships are especially incentives for our Converse students. Other prizes can be reinforcements as well. For example, the Starbucks gift card that ALD was giving yesterday. Ultimately, what will reward volunteering the most is the knowledge that you served your community. So here's where our members have volunteered. Our members have volunteered everywhere from science workshops to community gardens. It's been wonderful to see the good our members have done in the Spartanburg community, and we can't wait to see where they'll volunteer next. Questions?
Great job. So a lot of good feedback about the point system. So clarify, the point system is for volunteering or all involvement for ALD?
For our organization in particular, we mainly focus on volunteer hours, with there being roughly 1 point per hour. However, this can be adjusted based upon chapter needs.
Okay.
We heard a lot of really great ideas about how you can include points from different forms of involvement, and we might look into including those in the future.
Great. Do you see that question in chat?
Just a second. Let me.
I'll read it. I just didn't know.
Okay, thank you.
Do you find that independent volunteering competes with participating in ALD, or are there any? I think that's Jason. Speak up if I'm not conveying it correctly, but do you find independent volunteering competes with participation in ALD?
We actually found that the students who volunteer in ALD events also volunteer additionally in other places. So oftentimes people who love to volunteer will volunteer no matter what, but mostly we gear independent volunteering for students that may struggle to attend ALD events anyways, such as students who have athletic commitments. So although we've done this largely to help students who can't make every single ALD event, we haven't necessarily seen it compete, if that makes sense. Please let me know if I need to elaborate.
Yeah, no, I think that was it. Yeah. And we are still doing points today, by the way, and Starbucks gift cards today, which I'll talk about, but especially for those who stick with us to the end, we're definitely still doing incentives, and it's nice. Who doesn't want to win a Starbucks gift card? Great. Any other questions? I did want to show you something that I just thought.
Did we answer the question about literacy kits?
Oh, no, I didn't see that. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
So Tiffany from Casanova asked, what are in your literacy kits?
So the literacy kits was a project that one of our students did, and it included a story as well as other materials to help the student engage in the story. So the one that our student Laura did included beads, string, as well as the story, but it can be adjusted based upon the story and what other resources your chapter has. But it was a really cool individual volunteering event that she did, and we really enjoyed highlighting it because it was such a unique and wonderful idea that she did.
Great. Can you go back to the slide that had all the photos of volunteer events? Great. Any quick sort of outlines of what those all were? Was it like making stuff or cards, or it looks like Legos or something? Maybe describe a few of them.
Sure. So up at the top with the card is one of our students, Rachel. She volunteered to make cards for first responders. That was an independent volunteering event. Below, we partnered with Project Linus, where some of our students made blankets to donate to children as part of last year's focus on children. MLK Day with the other students is a campus-wide volunteer day. And so that was also independent volunteering, but on a large scale. That is an ALD event where we made magnets. Another picture from MLK Day where people made beach chairs. One of our students volunteered at a woodland and kept bees, which is the photo up there. That is from our trunk or treat event. And by the way, please let me know if I'm speaking a little too fast. Then there is, we volunteered with Halter, which is a equine therapy program. So some of our officers from last year took part in that. And then below is Hannah Jumer, who read to children, and she made a puppet to go along with the story. So puppets could also be a part of the literary kits if another chapter decides that they want to implement that on a large scale.
Great, thanks. That was a great question too, to have you talk more about those. I'm going to ask Trish to share something. Let me just preface it by saying, oh yeah, and if you could take the screen share off, that'd be great. Thank you. But such a great topic in terms of service activities, and it's a core pillar for Alpha Lambda Delta. And so can't believe we didn't do this sooner, but for the first time last year, we asked on our on the annual report that chapters fill out to tell us how many hours your chapters are participating in hours, and then we tallied them all up. So we put this out on social media a couple months ago, but over 13,000 hours of community service by Alpha Lambda Delta, and probably a lot more, but this is what was reported by the annual chapter reports. So that's a lot of service. So thank you all of Alpha Lambda Delta. Great. So thank you so much, Converse College, Delaney and Olivia. That was a great presentation, great service projects, great ideas and tips. Thank you for that, and great job.